this weekend I did a video talking about showing you trying out a bunch of new makeup by Makeup Revolution. And one of the things that I tried in that video are the new Air Blur Matte Liquid Lipsticks. I got 2 shades to try out and I was so impressed by them. They were long lasting, very comfortable, soft feeling, still matte, smooth. And I thought, I think this would be the perfect range to do a lip swatching video with. So I got all 8 shades that were available to me at the Boozy Shop website. We're gonna be doing some arm swatches and some lip swatches. I'm gonna be telling you how I feel about all of these shades. Let's just get into it. Alright, I zoomed you in a little bit. I'm gonna take off the lip balm that I have on. And the first shade that I'm gonna be showing you in this range is the Black Cherry shade. So we're gonna go in alphabetical order. I will also put the timestamps down below. These are in a really slim, nice, small packaging, easy to throw in your bag. Then they have a really nice small doe foot applicator with which is really easy to apply. It has a teardrop shape. You have a really sharp point to create a nice edge. This formula, when you swatch it, it seems a little bit thin and almost serum like, but it's kind of like this thin silicone feel. They're really smooth and buildable on the lips, and then they transfer a little bit. It's not anything crazy. They transfer a little bit and they stay on quite long. If you just apply one layer of these, it's gonna look almost more like a lip stain. It's gonna behave on the lips almost a little bit more like a lip stain. It's not a true stain, but it kind of is a thinner layer that can dry into your lips a little bit more. I wore one of these all day yesterday and I did feel like one layer was a little bit on the drier side, but also I have really dry lips. So I did feel that it was a little bit too thin, but if you build this up, it becomes really comfortable. The first day that I tried these, I had the shade Chauffeur on for the rest of the day and night, and I put on 2 layers and it felt really comfortable and it stayed on really well the rest of the night. So it's kind of like what works for you. You can build them up, it becomes a little bit more comfortable. You can leave a thinner layer if that is what you enjoy. So the shade Black Cherry seems to be kind of like a darker, almost, I don't know, brown, but also a little bit berry shade. It makes me think a little bit of maybe something like Clinique Black Honey. Kind of is it nude? Is it purpley? It's not super deep, which makes it quite wearable. It's a nice cool tone shade. Alright, so this is one layer of Black Cherry. It is a very kind of satin look on the lips, very smooth. It loses a little bit of almost that satin glow if you wear it for a little bit longer. I think this is a really beautiful color, really wearable, nice and cool toned. If you like something that is a little bit more cool toned, almost a little bit more punchy when it comes to the nudes, or you have maybe a deeper skin tone, this would be really nice. Let me build it up a little bit to show you full intensity. And also you can wear this with a lip liner. They will look a little bit more full on. I do feel like the pigmentation level of one layer is already really good and it just looks smooth, and that doesn't always happen when products are more lightly pigmented. Sometimes they do look a little bit patchy, so I'm really happy with that. Also, this just feels very comfortable. Okay, let's do a second layer. So this is a second layer of Black Cherry. It just becomes a little bit more pigmented, a little bit more full on. It's a really beautiful color. I feel personally like it lasts the best and most comfortably on me if I apply a little bit more. But I feel like in the summer I could definitely get away with just applying one coat. I love the fact that these are so buildable and then look so smooth. They are kind of the more buildable, thinner, somewhat more satiny little sister of the ABH lip velvets. This is the closest thing I can think of, but I haven't really tried anything like this really. Next up in the lineup we have shade Chauffeur. This is kind of a cool toned lighter nude. This is one that I've already tried. I think this is a really beautiful color. It just has a really nice undertone. It is soft. For me it's a little bit light. It's a little bit lighter than my natural lip color, so I would prefer a shade like this with a lip liner. But I really do like the undertone of this. It has something a little bit pinky mauve almost to it. So this is one layer of Chauffeur. Just imagine this with a little bit of a deeper lip liner. I think it is really, really beautiful. I can see myself wearing this so much. Okay, we're gonna do a second layer just to show you. I feel like with this one, it makes less of a difference because it's already so close to my lip color. I feel like because these are so smooth looking, a second layer isn't really necessary for the smoothness, but it's more for like hydration, a little bit of a like thicker layer. So this is 2 layers of Chauffeur. I think this is such a beautiful color. I think this one is so nice, and I like that it's a lighter shade but doesn't look dry. It isn't grabbing onto any dry patches on my lips, any texture. It's not emphasizing it. Really happy with this one. Next up we have shade Dreamy, and this one is a really interesting kind of like muted red shade. It's a little bit on the almost deeper side, but it definitely has something a little bit muted, almost rosy about it for a red. This is the type of red that I will go for. Like, I don't love usually a very, very bright red, but something like this I would definitely enjoy. So let's see about this color. This is beautiful. Okay, it's a darker shade, so I'm gonna try and talk less while applying. That's gorgeous. That one layer, that is really nice. Okay, this shade I really love. It is so nice and rosy. It is red, but it's not that super bright red. It's a really like a wearable red, at least for me. This is such a beautiful color. I feel like it's already looking so good with one layer. I think this is a gorgeous, gorgeous shade. Okay, we're gonna build it up a little bit. I also love how these don't turn weird when you apply another layer. Like some lip products, they just look weird when you try to build them up. So now it's a little bit more punchy, but the difference is not like crazy. I love that we already have quite some pigmentation in the first layer, but then the second layer is just a little bit extra, a little bit more color. This is just such a beautiful shade, one of my favorites for sure. So that was shade Dreamy. Okay, for the next shade we have actually a bit more of a fiery red, but I have a feeling that I'm gonna enjoy this more than other lipstick formulas because you can apply it a little bit more like softly upon that first layer of application. So we have here shade Fiery, and this is a bright red, but I do feel like it has a little bit maybe of a like cool tone blue undertone. It seems to lean a little bit blue. Okay, I'm gonna be a little bit careful when applying this. Don't wanna go overboard. Yeah, it's definitely bright. Such a nice color. I do notice a little bit of a pinkness in the undertone. Okay, this is a really nice bright shade of red. I feel like with this formula you could really easily get that lip look where you have some blurred out lip lines. You can really like apply a little bit in the center, blur that out. It just smooths out so beautifully and it shears out so beautifully. I think this is a really beautiful color. It seems like pretty much full on. I don't know if a second layer is going to change a lot, but we're just going to do it because we're doing that with all shades. So this is the second layer. I would personally wear this with a little bit of a lip liner just to make the edges look truly, truly crisp. That is just something that I would do with any bright red lipstick or bright lipstick in general. It's just what I prefer, but this is a really beautiful shade if you like a slightly cool toned bright red. This was shade Fiery. Alright, that red shade did stain my lips a little bit. I think we're gonna be okay, just a little. So next up we have the shade Natural. This is gonna be a nude shade. It seems to be a little bit more on the like sand tone side. It's not super warm, but it has something maybe slightly yellowy to it. I think this is gonna be one, once again, that is gonna be really nice with a lip liner. I think it's gonna look a little crazy on its own, but let's just try it out. I do feel like even though these look a little bit softer in the first layer, like this is definitely covering up that slight red stain. Yeah, this on its own, it looks a little crazy, I gotta be honest, but I think with the right combination, this could be really, really nice. And I feel like because of the undertone, you could kind of like pull it in one or the other direction. I feel like you could make this look quite warm, or you could make this look more cool toned with kind of like a ashy lip liner. Okay, let's do the second layer. Yeah, this definitely has some potential. You just have to imagine it with the right makeup, lip liner. Everything else just has to like match with it. Okay, 3 more shades to go. Next up we have shade Peachy. And this, I don't really know how to describe this. It looks kind of like a really... I don't know how to describe it. It is kind of like a brownish, rosy, maybe almost like a really deep terracotta. It's really hard to say what this is. It looks like a really interesting color. I think a lot of people could really love this. It's kind of like a really deep, rosy nude. Something like that. I can totally imagine myself really loving this. Yeah, it's kind of, once again, there's something a little bit rosy to it. Makes me think a little bit of the other shade, the one in Dreamy. Maybe it wasn't necessary to have both of those, Dreamy and this shade. For a line that only has 8 shades, they could have maybe made the tones a little bit different. There's definitely also a trend here. It's all very muted, nude. You do have that fiery shade, but the rest feels very muted. Like the color range feels a lot like the ABH Lip Velvets. Those are also like very muted shades. I would love to see some brighter shades as well for like maybe the spring, the summer. I don't know how much they're gonna expand this line. Like it's just arrived. It's not even on the Makeup Revolution website as I'm filming this. So this shade is really beautiful. There's just something about it. It has so many different colors in it. It has a very interesting undertone. There's just some, there's just something about it. It's kind of rosy. I wouldn't really call it peachy. I think it's a really beautiful color. I'm gonna build this up. That does make it look a little darker and a little bit more warm. Yeah, now it looks a little bit more warm, I think. But still, it has a really interesting undertone. It's not just a terracotta. I think this one is really beautiful. I could definitely see myself wearing this. So this was shade Peachy. Okay, next up we have shade Siren. And this seems to be kind of like a cooler toned, lighter nude. Seems maybe a little similar to the shade Chauffeur. Like maybe a little similar. It's a nude. It's a little bit less pinky than that one. This is more kind of like a really light brown. Almost like the cooler tone version of that sand shade. It was a little bit more yellowy. Beautiful color once again. They do have some really beautiful shades, but some of them are just maybe a little bit too similar for like a line with 8 shades. That is just what I conclude from this. You don't need all of these. Like I bought all of these to show you and be able to tell you that. This is a really beautiful color, a really nice kind of like more cool tone nude, not like a pure cool tone. Once again, we have some like rosiness to it. We have a little bit of warmth to it. Like there is some different things going on here. I do feel like it becomes a little bit more pinky because of my natural lip color. Let's do the second layer and cancel out that pink a little more. Yeah, this with the right lip liner is gonna be so good for me. I really like kind of like a lighter nude lip, but I still want kind of like the dimension that a lip liner can give me. And once again, I think it can be really versatile. You can make it look a little bit more warm tone. You can make it look a little bit more cool tone. I think this is a really beautiful shade. So that was shade Siren. And then we're ending the video with a shade that I already bought, already tried. This was a shade that I wore all day yesterday. This is a shade Sultry. This is such a beautiful cool toned pinky mauve berry shade, a little bit deeper. This is just the type of color that I really love when I go for something a little bit more colorful. It still feels quite natural. I just feel like this really just fits my vibe, my style, and just I think this is really beautiful. If you love cool tones, if you want something a little bit more deep, not as nude, then this is really beautiful. So let's do one layer. So that is one layer. I feel like this is really beautiful. The one layer looks a little bit more pinky. This is just my dream shade. I love it so much. And I'm just gonna do the second layer right away. I already showed you this one in my video on Sunday. So this is the second layer. I feel like I can make this look a little bit more purple, a little bit more berry with the right lip liner. Once again, I think this is a really beautiful shade. I really love this color. It is so beautiful. So this was shade Sultry. Alright, to finish up this look, I decided to use the lip liner by Maybelline on it, and I combined it with the soft matte liquid lip in Siren. So this is what that would look like, and I feel like this is such a nice combination. Okay, I think it is clear that I'm really liking these. I'm really enjoying these. I really love the colors that they have. I would love to see more like different shades, brighter shades, fun shades in the future. And I don't know, I kind of feel like these could become yearly favorites. Like, they are so soft feeling, they're so smooth looking, they are affordable. I really like the packaging, I really like the shades. By the way, these are not scented. I did get a question about that. They don't have a scent, they just smell like ingredients. So if you're someone who's sensitive to smells, you don't like that in your lip products, like these don't have that, which I'm really happy about. I'm really into these right now, really excited to use these more, try these more. I'm of course going to mention these in my new makeup updates, and that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye bye.